Hey fellow adventures of the internet, this is the must-see guy here on YouTube, Bruzo Dragonius, for this episode, or actually for this video. Ever since I've been on YouTube, and because of what I am, I get complimented because, well, I'm an Argonian, and I know for sure that, from what I know online, there's people that just say, well, people think that I'm really cool because I'm an Argonian. So, for this video, inspired by what I've seen, the two-part video of what Ryv and Lurks did on the pros and cons of being an anthropomorphic animal, I decided to make a video, or perhaps a Venn Diagram type video, on the pros and cons of being an Argonian. But I'm just going to tell you about what I love about being an Argonian in planet Earth. Like I said again, I get very much complimented about being on. You know, there's people that are just coming up to me and say, well, Bruzo, or Lizard Man, or whatever, that's a very hip school costume. Even though that people may think that it's just a guy in a costume, but in reality, it's just what I am. So, if you're any anthropomorphic animal species, you do think, or among the humans, you do get mistaken as being some guy in a costume, because we don't really exist. So that's the one good thing about it, or the one thing I really love about it. The other thing that I really enjoy about being an Argonian is that, well, like I said, I'm very complimented as being really awesome because of what I am, or really cool. Or I do get a lot of attention from all the humans that really do like Argonians and that, and like all sorts of reptiles and that. And yeah, I'm basically an anthropomorphic lizard, or of a race of anthropomorphic lizards, and I do get a lot of attention, and I do get asked for photos and all that kind of stuff, you know, and selfies. And there's some kids that comes around me, you know, just that are very impressed with what I am, and like to, you know, go around for some photos or something like that, you know, and have their parents take them, or whoever, take them near me, and you know, I do adore that attention, and I do love, you know, posing photos. And plus, well, sometimes I get hugs and all that kind of stuff. Well, what I mean by that is that I'm not really a furry animal. I'm just all skin and scale, apart from this mohawk. The other cool thing about being an Argonian, not only in this planet, but also as a species, no matter where you are in the whole entire universe, whether you're in Nern or whatever planet that you're in, Argonians have the ability to be much more athletic swimmers. I mean, we are very much faster than humans at swimming. We're just very fast swimmers. Because, you know, we've got some things that we have that propels us to give us this boost, as you will. Like, for instance, our tail, the way that our tail moves sort of contributes to the speed or to the performance of our athletic abilities to swim as fast. I mean, like what Lurks said in that video, that no matter what sport, that depending on what species that you are 10 times much more better than what a human does. Also, the other thing about being an Argonian is the way that we basically use our tail for other stuff in our hit. So, even though that, yeah, for instance, like with soccer, for instance, where basically you're not allowed to use your hands, but you can just use your stomach, head, or your feet, and your hip. Us Argonians are much more athletic and much more better at the sport of soccer, or if you're in England, football. Like, you know, there's no rule in soccer against using your tail. So therefore, we have a better advantage. We Argonians does have our own take of soccer or whatever, where it's only to do with our hips and tails, just like basically hockey, you know, but with tails. Enough about that. Also, another amazing thing about us Argonians is that not only that we're very fast swimmers, but we can pretty much breathe underwater without any scuba equipment, go right underwater without any scuba equipment, actually as long as we like, and perhaps need to perform a certain task. Like, for instance, with the rescue missions where it involves if someone gets trapped in a cave during a thunderstorm and there's like a lot of water that's coming up on you, and the only way out is to go right underneath the water and just out the other end. Well, we Argonians are able to assist in that because, or perhaps with some submarines, for instance, with the ground submarine. Even though that we don't need any respirators or scuba gear to do it, because we can actually breathe underwater as long as we can and want to, we can just simply carry the scuba equipment or whatever that's really necessary down, and perhaps provide them with some scuba equipment so we can just simply go back up and save their lives. It also works in a, say for instance, if it were a ship that's sinking, or other examples where the person is pretty much trapped. Another thing that's really cool about us is that, well, seeing if we do get cuts and all that kind of stuff, if we bleed, or if we're completely injured in a battle or whatever, like what I always have, we are going to also have a very faster immune system. And what I mean very fast immune system is that we have a very good ability to self-heal as more quicker than humans. In other words, we can regenerate more quicker. And we have a very special name for that ability, which is called the Hiskin. Just case in point that the Hiskin is basically a term that is named after the tree that we Argonians worship, as in the His. Not only that, but we are very much immune to, that is the most contagious and even the incurable diseases that can actually kill humans. So if there's a bit of a zombie outbreak, whereas that, what zombies are, like they get infected by some disease and by biting and clawing or whatever, and if you're a human, you get any contact with their saliva, or get scratched or get bitten by them, you end up becoming one because of this virus that makes up them zombies or whatever. Well, if you're an Argonian, you are very immune to those diseases. And not only that, but we're immune to such things as SARS. We are immune to such things as, I think, the bird flu, the mad cow disease. If there's any other zombie type disease that's pretty much could use, we're maybe immune to anthrax. We're a lot more immune to biological warfare, as well as other forms of chemical warfare, because of the fact being is that, if we can, I don't know about you and that, but I think that we Argonians can even survive a nuclear fallout, which is just very amazing to us. And that's amazing skill, or the amazing features that we have better than humans. But with those awesome things that we have as Argonians, or the awesome abilities that we have, or whatever, there are lot of downsides to being an Argonian. Like for instance, being on this planet, and all these cons that I'm talking about is while I'm on this planet, even though that, as you already know, there's some bad things that happen to us in the history within Earth. But I'm talking about here on Earth. One thing what really sucks about being an Argonian is everything that we do, or anything that humans actually do, that can be a bit of a not so easy task for us. Like, say for instance, one of them is, well, we always seem to annoy people with our tails when we're catching public transport or planes and whatnot. There's some stages where I'm on a train coming from Fur Jam, and say for instance that I was told to move my tail from the seat. I can't really help it, because the tail is actually attached to my body, and the tail itself is making it very harder to catch trains, buses, fly on planes. On the count that with my tail I need to take up 2 seats, or have or whatever, like in a commercial jet, unless, however, if I end up getting a private jet, which, as you know, that they cost billions of dollars to even own one. Not to mention a pilot that you hire, and you need your own personal landing strip, as well as some sort of government permission to land at other airports. What I mean by that is that you need to have seats that is modified for your anatomy, basically. You need to have holes in the back of the seat so your tail can fit through. And not only that, but you need a lot of space on planes. I don't think that I can drive a car as properly unless I have to sit way back like that, because of my horns gets in the way of the roof of the car, unless I get a convertible, and if I do get a convertible or whatever, I need to drive with the roof down, even when it's raining. Or besides that, I need the car modified again, as well, for my tail, and to see if I can, wrap the tail around down the side of me or something like that. So perhaps whatever car that I get have one less seat in the front. For example, a two-seater car can be, with me in it, would end up being a one-seater. So there's a very few passengers that I can take in my car. Even though that traveling itself, you get a very much of a hard time for, but also with clothing, because with clothing and also cosplaying, case in point, that being an Argonian that I am, I cannot wear any overalls, full body unitards or whatever that is involved in cosplays, unless that I have the hole cut out for my tail to fit through, or have a butt flap. Because even though that this year in Fursuit, which I'm going to, by the way, has this theme of not only Back to the Beach, but a theme of the post-nuclear apocalypse. And I decide to cosplay in at least one of the days for the photos in one of the Voltec overalls. And for that, it is very, very difficult to find the ones that really suit me. Even though that, just case in point, that I wanted to cosplay the two games in the one cosplay, because I'm already an Argonian, and Fallout and the Voltec uniform has something to do with Fallout, which is both Bethesda games, or whatever, because, I find it very hard to wear them type thing. So even though that I'm just trying to work things out for what I want to do as a cosplay, but unfortunately, I just need to figure things out, and it's very hard to do. So I can't just buy some $800 Voltec uniform out there so I can cut a hole in my back of it for my tail. It's just, I need something more cheaper than that. Also, another thing is the type of clothing that you have to wear also. Even though that, yes, I'm fine with wearing human shirts, human pants, but when it comes to hats and shoes, it can be a lot difficult, because of the fact being is that I need a hat that to cater to put between my horns and all that kind of stuff. And where the shoes are concerned, these feet, even though that they're perfectly human sized, but the only human sized footwear that I can wear are sandals. I can't wear any closed-in shoes because of my claws, or the claws of my feet are, because they break, and it can be very, very painful. Or I need the closed-in footwear to be modified to at least get holes in them, so my foot claws can actually just go through. So, closing out of the way, the other thing that really sucks about being an Argonian is that basically I'm to whatever government or to society as an extraterrestrial life form. Even though that, yes, yet again, I am just an anthropomorphic animal. You may not know how bad it is to be classed as an extraterrestrial life form, even though they could be cool. That's why there could be, a bit of both, or in the depends section. But, however, being classed as an extraterrestrial life form, not only because of my culture, even though that my culture isn't really of their interest, or the culture of my species. What is really of their interest of them is of how I can actually talk English or within the human language. Know that yes, we may speak we, but that has nothing to do with them. But not only that, we are such animals that walk on our 2 feet like a human and be all human-like, and yet have the head and a body and a tail of a lizard. And don't forget our abilities also. We normally get experimented on against our will, because of the fact being is that what the US government knows, or what any other government that knows that, you know, with the most powerful military force in the world, is that, well, with our abilities that can actually do something, that can do much more better things than what humans can, especially when it comes to immune to diseases and basically, you know, faster healing or faster immunity, is that, don't get me wrong, I like helping other people out. I think that my DNA can actually be beneficial to humans. But there's only one problem with that, because scientists do not know how I can actually be born with these abilities that I have. You know, it could be from my blood or whatever. Now you can just say, well, that could be basically a bad thing because, you know, you don't want it, because of the fact being is that you may get it experimented on for the greed of the military, on account of being a much more powerful force in the world. And in the afterlife and that, when I'm dead, I don't think that I'm going to rest. I'm not going to be buried easily, because they will end up, when I die, I fear that I will be cut open, and perhaps be cut up open, and that with all my guts and all that kind of stuff, you know, experiment on, being autopsied on and all that kind of things, on how we are going, or the inside anatomy of us, because basically we are just scientific curiosities. And yeah, I'm just one of my species, and there's not many of us on this planet, and yet I always do get kidnapped all the time by the governments. And to be honest with you, you know, that's another reason why I just cannot go to America at the moment. You know, even though that, yeah, maybe I could be useful as a super soldier. That's another pro, but it could be because I'm an Argonian warrior. You know, I don't mind serve my own country in the defense force, because, you know, I have more better abilities yet again than what humans do on the battlefield. Not to mention that we have better stealth when it comes to go underneath water. So I can infiltrate the terrorist hideouts more easy. And not only that, but the US government, like the Pentagon or whatever, know about my abilities. They'll just find ways of cloning me and make super soldiers out of my DNA. So, in other words, my DNA can be used for evil instead of just good. But there's another interesting fact, that I do not like needles. And I don't know how they could actually have needles that can penetrate through Argonian skin or my scales. Not to mention that I do not like needles. And not only that, but my DNA can also be used as a weapon. Well, so there is some things like that pretty much depends on, you know, on what you're into, even though I don't mind fighting because I'm an Argonian warrior. But however, there are some things where there are some Argonians that don't like to end up being end up fighting, like in the special forces. So there are some, even though that we're not classed as humans, chances are that us Argonians are most likely to be conscripted into our country's military forces because of our ability. That I do mind it, but there's some that are against fighting whatsoever. And I just kept on repeating myself. So anyway, even though that would go in the depends kind of middle area, which can be classed as both the pro and the con, depending on what you're really into. So anyway, I'm just done with my rambling on. So what are your thoughts about you know, being an Argonian now? Even though that none of you is like of having a life as an Argonian, do you think that it's really awesome for you? Because to be frankly, it is amazing. You know, to be quite honest with you, I'd much rather be an Argonian, much more rather than my ugly human self. But I need to just go out there in the world, disguise myself as a human. But even though that it sort of makes me a bit, you know, sad. In other words, it just has this kind of void. It just opens up that void of what I really am and enjoy. And having no choice but to be a human being. So, what are your thoughts about being an Argonian like me, or a life of an Argonian? Do you like it? Do you hate it? You know, now or whatever. And if you are a furry of some other species or whatever, besides an Argonian, I'm very curious about the pros and cons of being your persona as well. You know, you're more than welcome to comment down below with that, even though that I would most likely read them. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video so much, make sure you press the thumbs up button. Make sure if you want to support me further on YouTube, or if you like the content that I make sure you press the subscribe button, and to be the first person that you know, also press the notification bell icon next to it, so you will be the first lot of people to know when my next video comes out. Also, there are some usual links to my social media, including TikTok, including Twitter, Furry, and other sort of social medias, as well as a link to my store down below in case that you want to support me financially. Not only that, but if you want to look for me on PSN, whether it's, you know, Elder Scrolls Online, or if you want to friend me on PSN, or if you want to chat to me on PSN, or whatever, or if you want to look out for me, as what I am now, you know, there is that, like if you want to look out for me in Tamriel, or in anything. Not to mention that make sure you look out for the gamer tag, and search for the gamer tag Bruzo21. As always, I want to thank you all for watching this, even though that it's all blabbering on. To you, I encourage you to share this. You really do. Thank you for that. To all of you that are watching this, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your support. And you're so amazing to me, even if you follow me in all sorts of social media, whether it's subscribing onto my YouTube channel, following me on Twitter, Facebook. If you're a fan of me on TikTok, you know, and all those sorts of social medias, thank you so much. You are so I cannot say enough justice to say how much amazing each and every one of yous are. Thank you so much. I love yous all. Even if you're just watching this, I love you and I thank you for that. Anyway, I'm just gonna have to sign off now by saying thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I love yous all. Yous are all amazing. Yous all matter. How can I say? My human self is ugly. And as always, this is Bruzo Dragonius saying, and signing off by saying, may the hiss guide you all. Bye for now.